In this video, we're going to go beyond using TeamMate Analytics as an audit tool and talk about some other functions you can use to help you with everyday information management and other tasks you may have, such as working with tax provisions or even just general accounting information provided by a client that you need to work with in a better way. With TeamMate being an add-in in Excel, it has its own ribbon. The very first section we call the planning. This is where we have the test library. If you want to take a look at the tests there, some of those are audit specific, but there are also other things you can use, such as aggregating expenses and doing tests on things like that. The data preparation section, we're going to spend some time here. The data analysis, that's where you do a lot of the work as far as the multi-step procedures and things like that. And then your options and help, where you can customize it for your purposes. So we're going to start off with a trial balance. We need to do a few things here. We need to get it into shape to get into, say, for example, pro system engagement. We want to initially clean up these blank rows. We really don't need those. So what I can do is there's a function here I can run. It's called sheet checker. And what sheet checker will do is it looks at those functions, and anything that can be fixed automatically, it will. So I would click on that. Processes, and you notice in the background those issues have been addressed. Now, the next thing here is I have all of these leading spaces that I don't really need in my account descriptions. So I want to clean that up. So I'm going to select column B here, and I want to get rid of any of those extraneous spaces. So I've got a function here, manipulate fields. You've got lots of options here for working with the text, making it all uppercase, lowercase, so on. In this case, I'm going to get rid of my leading and trailing spaces, but I want to keep the spaces in between if there are multiple words. So I click on it, it runs, and there we are. Now the next thing, typically we would do with Excel is we'd go through and combine our debit and credit columns. So TeamMate makes this a much easier function instead of going through multiple steps. What I would do here is I go up to my manipulate fields, come down, there's a debit and credit column function. And in this window, I can, if I had debits and credits in one column and needed to split it, I could do that. In this case, I want to combine. So I'm going to select those and identify my columns and then hit OK. Processes, now it gives me the column. I can use my little paintbrush here to clean things up, call that balance. And now I can get rid of those columns I no longer need. So in just a few clicks, I'm able to go from a trial balance that's kind of in disarray to one I can use and make it pretty simple. Now, one thing too, TeamMate will keep track of the functions performed in the comments. There's a little comment that appears in cell A1 to let you know what functions were run. That way too, if you're a reviewer, you can look at this and say, hey, what happened and how did we get here? You can take a look and see that here. One other thing just to mention, before we get into like data analysis, there's another function here called fill cells. It's really useful for generating account numbers if you need to. In this case, say the client's provided me with this general ledger. I really want to fill down the account number and description to be on the same line as my ending balance. You notice this is pretty lengthy. Well, what I can do is I can select each column that I want to fill down with the last non-blank row. That's what I would do here. Come down to fill cells. And then here I can fill it with the last non-blank value. And it does it for me. So it's a really fast way to do that. And then do the same thing for the description. So that now I have everything on that ending balance row. I can run some other functions, extract that information if I need to, and go from there. Now, I had their trial balance from last year. Now they've given me this year's trial balance. And maybe they use QuickBooks or some other system where they're not using account numbers, but maybe I need account numbers. How can I quickly do that? TeamMate has a function. It's called join two sheets. And what this allows me to do is combine two worksheets using a common criteria to do that. And you can do this across workbooks or within the same workbook in this case. Prior year TB1, current year. The matching column will be the description, right? That's what's common between the two. And then from each sheet, I can determine what I want to bring over. From this one, I just want the account number. And then I can hit OK. And now we have account numbers along with those descriptions and balances. So I could quickly see that. Something else that you could use this for is if I need to split information apart. So I'm going to use a function here for splitting out these fixed asset purchases. Maybe I need to split it out by location. So pretty quickly I can go in, there's a manipulate sheets, select that, and then hit split sheets, split by location, and I can choose one or all of them. And I'll do that and hit OK. What it does is it creates a new workbook where that's split out. So now I have worksheets for each particular location. So if I'm doing additional work, I need to do some testing, or even just pulling invoices and things would make that much easier. The other thing I like to look at is highlighting changes. How can we highlight changes between two worksheets or workbooks? So if the client provides me with a provision, so I've got provision 1 and provision 2, but I want to see what are the differences between the two. There's a function here to do that. It's called highlight changes. So I'll select that and I can compare workbooks or worksheets. In this case, we'll just compare within the same workbook, but we can also compare formulas and values, not just formulas or values, but we can do both. And then my worksheet, the latest version is provision 2, first version is provision 1, and I'm going to add a comment to the cell. You can also choose to highlight it with a different color. I'll use yellow, that's fine. And that creates a new worksheet to show me the changes. And it also gives me a cell comment to say, okay, what was the previous formula and value, the difference down here, there was a change in the formula. Now it's showing D22 times D10. Previously it was D22 times D23. So things like that will help you find some issues and do that. One last thing to show you real quick is ways to quickly summarize data. We can certainly do that. For example, if I want to summarize open receivables by customer, I could go through and create a pivot table, but maybe I have folks who are not so confident with pivot tables. What I can do is use a quick summary and build a pivot table for me. Summarize by customer, and I want both a count of invoices and a sum of the amount. Now you can have up to 5 columns there. And then I hit OK. It's going to process. It gives me my pivot table. And just like any pivot table, if I wanted to see the 7 invoices for this customer, I can double click on it and it will drill down and give me that worksheet. There are lots of other functions and definitely encourage you to explore it, especially Expert Analyzer. You can set it up to run multiple functions. So if the client gives you this huge data dump, you can run a series of functions quickly to get you to the information you need. I mean, there are also some really good visualization tools that would help with consulting. And we have the import wizard if you need to bring things in from PDF to Excel. TeamMate Analytics is a powerful add-in for Microsoft Excel. It provides over 150 functions to increase your productivity and make your use of Excel that much more powerful. Thank you so much for watching the video, and hope you enjoy exploring TeamMate Analytics.